All right, Becky, it's so good to have you here today. I'm going to go ahead and get started since it's noon and we got some people on here with us. First of all, I want to introduce Becky Edwards. She's an amazing woman. I have been following her for a long time. She's a faith-based mentor, blogger, author, and speaker. And she's even spoke at the BYU Women's Conference and the BYU Idaho Education Week. She's a mother of a gay son who just graduated from high school. Her specialty is combining mentoring tools with faith to help people improve their inspiration, mindset, emotions, habits, and relationships. She helps people overcome obstacles so that they can reach their goals, create the life they choose, and accomplish their divine life purpose. Becky is the creator of Heaven Journaling and the Life on Purpose group coaching program. And Becky is a former LDS seminary and institute teacher, professional organizer, and coach for mentoring students. She graduated from BYU studying marriage, parenting, and counseling. Becky and Mike have been married for 20 years and have 5 children and 3 granddaughters. So thank you so much for coming today. I'm so excited to have you here and be able to teach us and inspire us and just bring us so much more understanding and ability to just bring more light into our life. So thank you. I'm going to just go ahead and turn the time over to you so that you can get us inspired. All right.
Okay. Thanks so much, Alicia. Appreciate it. So welcome everyone. Those of you who are here, if you will find your chat box, if you're on your computer, the easiest way to do that is hover your mouse across the bottom of your screen and you'll see a little icon that says chat. If you'll find that and then type in the chat box where you're joining us from. Some of your names I recognize, so it's fun to see you here. Welcome, welcome. And we'll be using the chat box a little bit to interact as we go along. I don't like just lecturing. I like to interact and have a conversation. Maria's here from Kansas. Hi, Maria. So good to see you. Who else have we got here? Okay, if you're on your phone, I hope I remember this right. You click on your phone on the video, and then it will give you an option of bringing up the participants. And I think it's at the bottom of the participants list that you click on that, and there's the chat. Lisa is from North Ogden, Utah. Wonderful. All right. Megan is from Sandy. Hi, Megan. Haven't seen you in a long time. Very fun. I'm sure we'll have more people jumping in the chat box as they are able. Sometimes it's a little tricky to figure out, and that's totally fine. So as we jump in today, I want to ask you, if you would type in the chat box, what are some of the topics that you have seen that bring division in our world currently? What are some of the topics? I'm going to list one. Masks. That's a big topic of division. So I would like to hear what the rest of you, including you, Alicia, please feel free to jump into the conversation. What are topics that people are disagreeing with? Okay, we've got politics, masks. Yes. What else? Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. Yep. What else? What else can you think of? I'll say a couple of others. Obviously politics, and it does get tense before an election, right? Oh, just a lot of tension and division and divisiveness and even hatred. It becomes pretty venomous. Oh, yep, homeschool versus public school. Yep, exactly. Lots of different topics that can create division and differences. So I have a little meme I want to show you. A little meme. Here we go. Okay. Hard truth. Now this is actually a friend of mine, and she's a good person. She's a really, really, really good person. And when I saw this meme, I felt sad. And I don't show it to you to blame or shame or criticize her. I show it to you to show an example of what this divisiveness can look and feel like. And I know we've all seen it. This is just one example. She said, hard truth. If I see a disposable mask hanging from your rearview mirror, I immediately think you're disorganized, gullible, cheap, and lazy. Hashtag there, hashtag I said it. And, you know, she got, if you can see down at the bottom of my meme here, she got 106 comments. And most of them were agreeing with her that people who wear masks are stupid and foolish, and they're not educated, and they're lazy. I mean, these are kind of, I'm going to say, demonizing words. These are pretty divisive words. They're shaming and they're othering. So is there a way that we can hold our own views while still staying in a loving place and still staying open and teachable? Is that possible? There's a lot of contention and division around some of these issues today. And I know I'm not the only one who sees that. Anyone else see that? I know I'm not the only one. So we've got these two, I mean, it's a little more complicated than this, but I'm going to simplify it down to say we've got these two sides. We can demonize other people, shame them, hate on them, attack them, criticize them, act like they're bad, evil people because they have a different opinion than we do. Or we can learn to agree disagreeably and choose to give grace and assume that someone has a good heart. They have good intentions. I had an interesting experience, I don't know, a few weeks ago on Facebook, where my Facebook feed looked like a certain thing, and I was getting kind of, you know, a certain slant of posts. And then I posted a particular thing, a particular cause, and it was like instantly my Facebook feed turned really kind of extreme on one side of the political spectrum in a way that hadn't been for anywhere in the late past, in the recent past. And I thought, wow, this was so interesting that, I mean, their algorithms are pretty potent on Facebook. We all know this. And that just from having a couple of posts in one day about a certain cause, my Facebook went, whoop. It used to be a little more moderate of a feed. I would hear from people in, different political parties and different opinions about things. And I could hold space for both of them and go, you know what, that's a good person and that's a good person. And I can see where they're both coming from. And I can give them the benefit of the doubt that they have good hearts and good intentions. And then I post something and then suddenly it's like way over here. It was such an interesting experience. And it helped me gain compassion and empathy for this divisiveness that I don't want to feel empathy for the divisiveness, but for people. Because if a person is only looking at one kind of news and only listening to one kind of news, and their Facebook feed or Instagram feed is only filled with people who think just like they do, I'm going to pin my video here, just like they do, then that is their worldview. That's the food they're feeding their worldview on. They're feasting on the same kind of food that this group of people is. And over here, this person might be feasting on the same kind of food that their people, that group of people. And does that mean those two groups are, one is good and one is evil? I don't think so. But it is easy to be tempted to go there. It's just like that little meme of my friend. It's easy to shame and hate and villainize and demonize when other people have different opinions than we do. Now, in the chat box, those who have access to your chat box, I would love to hear when for those of you who are Latter-day Saints, the church members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I would love to hear when you notice the pride cycle happening, which many of us are studying right in the middle of these chapters where we're seeing the pride cycle happening over and over, and we'll see it more. What usually starts that cycle that you have noticed? And if you're not sure, just take a wild guess. I love guesses. Guesses are awesome. Megan, thinking you are better than others. Yep. Yep. I'd love to hear other thoughts too. Judgment. Thank you, Lisa. Thinking you're better than others, judging others. Any other thoughts you'd like to share on that? Another one that I have really noticed, oh, Alicia, act of independence that separates us from God. Yes, Maria, prosperity, comfort, like you don't need anyone else. Yeah, good answers. I love that. And one of the things that I have noticed is contention. It's contention and thinking we're better than other people. And then there's this division that starts to happen, this division, and we're not on the same team anymore. And are we seeing some of that today? I am. I feel like I'm seeing some of the same kinds of experiences that people in the Book of Mormon had through those times of the Pride cycle. And I'm checking myself too, because I want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Let's see, Alicia, looking for approval and acceptance regardless of where it's from. Yeah, we want to be on the side of light. I love that, Alicia. So one thing that can be, when there's a lot of contention going on, and there is, and I really appreciate and honor, some people are managing that by saying, I am either getting off of social media, or I'm, really limiting my time, or I'm limiting my feed to just, certain things or whatever. And that's awesome. Personally, I do a lot of my business and my ministry work on social media. So, I get to be in it and see a lot of this, which I'm fine with. I can manage those emotions and thoughts. I have some good tools that way. But I will say that when we're immersed in this contention and this divisiveness and this I'm better than you, like I'll just say masks, because that's one that we brought up with our little meme. It is so easy to forget we're all on the same team. These are good people. Now, I'm not talking about, people who are doing child sex trafficking. I'm not talking about people who are, really have evil agendas. I'm not talking about them at all. That's a different conversation for a different day. I'm talking about good people that are in your circles of influence and in my circles of influence that we are friends and family with. That's who I'm talking about. And if we disagree and then suddenly say we can't, I can't see you as a good person anymore, we forget we're on the same team. We are on Team Jesus. That's whose team we're on. That's whose team we're on. I have a cute little t-shirt I found to show that. That is whose team I'm on. Are you on Team Jesus? I'm on Team Jesus. And it's easy and tempting to forget that and to think, oh, they're over there, I'm over here, I'm better than them. It reminds me of people in the Book of Mormon who were on their rammy-umptum and saying, I'm the best, and God loves me the best, and he doesn't love other people, and they're so foolish, and they believe this and that and the other, and they're so wrong. And there's a lot of pride. But if we remember that we are on the same team, even with people who may have differing opinions, that can hold us in a much better place. One of the things I love remembering is that God looks on our heart, not just on the outward appearance. Like, we tend to look on each other's outward appearance, but I also love that we can pray for spiritual gifts that help us see and love how God sees and loves. And in fact, for those who, again, are a member of my faith, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, at our last general conference, I remember hearing that council. Let's see, here we go. I remember hearing that council multiple times to pray to love others as God does. And I would add, pray to love and see people as God does. Not only other people, but ourselves. Pray to love and see myself and others as God loves and sees myself and others. So So as I have done that, and I've really wrestled through these last few months of watching these really strong opinions with different issues. And I'm just going to share a personal experience of just a personal story of a wrestle that I've had. Now, in my personal friend circles, I have people who are really pro-mask, and I have people who are really anti-mask. I'm thinking of a particular gentleman who's a gifted musical composer, and he's probably about 65, 70 years old, and he has a lot of anxiety about getting COVID. I don't know if he has pre-existing health conditions, but his age is a concern to him. And he has put on Facebook, I really appreciate when people wear masks because it helps me feel safe. When I need to go to the grocery store and meet my needs just to get basic food and things, it really means a lot when people wear masks. So that's on one side. On another side, I hear people saying, I don't wear a mask and I won't wear a mask and my children won't wear a mask because I've studied what I see as some conspiracies going on, some secret combinations. It's a Book of Mormon word for Book of Mormon word would be secret combinations. Modern day word would be conspiracies that are taking away our freedoms. And that's my reason that I don't wear a mask. Okay, now hold those two side by side. We've got, I can't remember which side I said which, I think it was over here. We've got over here my friend who says, I feel so much anxiety about COVID. I really appreciate when people wear masks. So when I hear that, I think I want to wear a mask for my friend, for his sake. I want to protect my friend. I want to protect my parents who are aging and do have some pre-existing conditions. I want to help over here. And then over here, I can see why they want to protect freedoms. And they've studied some underlying issues that are going on and some prophecies of what they're now seeing. And what I have come to, and I'm not saying anybody has to see this the way I do. I just want to share my personal experience. What I have come to is my personal belief is I see and believe that God says, oh, how I love you for being kind and wearing a mask for this gentleman, even if it's not a big deal to you, or if it is a big deal to you personally, and that you feel masks will truly support your health. I love you for that. Thank you for doing your best with the education you have and your worldview. And then over here, oh, how I love you for studying what you see and putting your thoughts together about what you see is going on, and trying to protect our liberties for in the latter part of the latter days. How proud I am of you. Thank you for doing what you feel is best and what you feel is right, and following me with the worldview that you have. So I see that people over here are saying, I'm following God by wearing a mask. That's the kind, godly thing to do. I'm following God by not wearing a mask because I want to protect our liberties, our God-given liberties. And and maybe this would be hard for anybody else. I don't know if other people have come to this conclusion, but this is my conclusion. I honestly feel that God sees our hearts and he says, oh, thank you for doing such a good thing of being so good-hearted and doing the best you can with what you know. And the same on the other side. That feels really good to me. And that's been a really good wrestle that I have come to personally. Now, if I were to share that with my entire Facebook feed and everybody saw that clip of this video, I would probably get some very shaming comments from both sides, because I have people in my feed who do that. You just saw one. You just saw one of those shaming memes. And that's fine. That's where they are. But I'm on Team Jesus. I'm not saying they're not, but my version of being on Team Jesus is I personally am seeing, this is just and again, I don't want to come from judgment about this at all. I'm just giving us an option of a new way to see this. I'm seeing if both sides of this mask issue, or you could take any issue, honestly, are doing their best to follow God with their education worldview, then this that's going back and forth, that sometimes is shaming, hating, villainizing, demonizing, I feel like that is where Satan is having a big old party. I feel like he is having a heyday in that middle space. And we have forgotten as a culture, sometimes we've forgotten how to agree to disagree, how to disagree agreeably. Let's see, Lisa says, Satan tends to use small things, topics that create a division or contention, turning us against the ones we love. Yes, exactly. So much. Thank you, Lisa. Let's see. Oh, okay. So when the Pharisees, I'm going to invite you to type in the chat box again. When the Pharisees asked Jesus, what is the most important law? And they had, if I remember right, from my institute teaching days, I think there were over 600 laws in the time that, by the time Jesus was alive, they just like lawed themselves, like layers and layers and layers of laws, and that were some of them ridiculous, honestly. And so, okay, I don't want to, if there were any Jews who ever watched this, I wouldn't want them to feel shamed. So I apologize for that. But a lot of laws. Okay, let's just say that, a lot of laws. Now, when these people came and said, Jesus, what's the most important law? What from your best memory, how did Jesus answer that? Maria, to love God. Yes. I'm going to go back and also read Alicia's comments. She said, masks, COVID, and so forth are not the enemy. Satan is. And if we can remember which arena we are in, we can stand united. Yes, we are in Team Jesus, and we are fighting against Satan, the adversary. When we start to fight with each other, do you remember just recently in the Book of Mormon, what happens when the people who really are on Team Jesus, when they start fighting against each other, they are so, what's the word? They are so much more vulnerable to their enemy, aren't they? That's a good lesson for all of us. That's a really good lesson. To love God, then love your neighbor. Yes, Megan, love is the higher law. Alicia, love God and love your neighbor. Yes, exactly. That loving God and loving our neighbor as ourselves is the most important commandment, or commandments. And I love how he then said something like, upon these hang all the law and the prophets. So to me, that kind of means measure everything against it. Hang things on this and see if they line up. Do other things line up with this great commandment? Love God, love others as you love yourself. I have a little bracelet that I just love here. Probably a little hard to see, but it is, usually a lot of people wear a bracelet that says, what would Jesus do? WWJD, but mine answers the question. It doesn't say WWJD. It says HWLF. He would love first. And I love wearing this bracelet. One of my sons bought some for all of us. So I actually lost mine this morning. I'm like, I want to wear that for this guest speaking, and I lost it. So one of my sons said, hey, can mom borrow your bracelet? And I just love that message. What would Jesus do? He would love first. He would remember that we are on the same team. We want to get back to God. We want to love. We want to do the best we can with the education worldview that we have, but we don't want to hate on each other if there are differing opinions. And there always will be. We won't always have the same opinions as everyone else, right? Okay, another example besides this Jesus example of saying the top law. When we have spiritual gifts that are anywhere in comparison with each other in the Bible, in the Book of Mormon, I'm trying to think if the Doctrine and Covenants does this, but I think at least the New Testament and the Book of Mormon, and they compare the gift of this, these different spiritual gifts. In the chat box, let me know if you, which of the gifts is the highest priority, is like what the author says is the best gift. And again, you can just guess if you're not quite sure. What is the best gift of the Spirit when we're given a list and then compare, and then they are prioritized? Ooh, Alicia, gift of discernment is a really good one. That's a good one. What other thoughts do any of you have? Gift of an understanding heart, Maria. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. These are good gifts to ask for. Any other thoughts? Charity. Hi, Eve. Grace. Hi, Andrea. Yes, charity, when there are gifts that are compared against each other, charity is always the top. Isn't that interesting? So we've got Jesus who says the most important law is to love God and love others as we love ourselves. And then over here, we have different authors of scriptures who say, if you have so much faith that you can move mountains and you can do all these other amazing, amazing things, but you don't have charity, it doesn't really matter that much. These authors, Paul and others, are saying charity is the ultimate gift. Charity, and that is love. It's loving God, loving others as God loves. Again, whose team are we on? We're on Team Jesus. We are not fighting each other. We are fighting the adversary. If the adversary can convince us that we are fighting each other, look what he has done. We've taken our eyes off of the real battle and we've put it on each other. And we see how well that goes in the Book of Mormon, right? When we can unite with each other and say, it's okay if we have different opinions. We are supposed to be different. We're not supposed to all be this clone of each other. That would be so boring. I wouldn't want the whole world to be just like me. I love variety. I love all these different people and personalities and opinions. And if we can say, I can love you unconditionally and agree to disagree nicely and be on Team Jesus together. Ooh, that's powerful. That's powerful stuff. Really powerful. Okay. So there is a learnable skill that I want to talk about for a few minutes, and it is empathy. The skill of empathy is learnable. Some people seem to be born with it. It's likely a spiritual gift that some people just have. But if you don't have it, you can learn it. You can practice it. It reminds me of our baptismal covenant, when we promise to mourn with those who mourn, comfort those in need of comfort, and what's the other one? Bear one another's burdens. That is a pretty good description of empathy. We are saying, I may not experience the same pain as you, but I'm going to hold it with you. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to walk with you. That little primary song, I'll walk with you with your pain. And I've had some personal experiences learning how not to give empathy and learning that I was actually hurting more than helping, and then how the other ways that I can help. So I'm going to show you a little chart so that maybe you can learn from my mistake. And maybe we've all had experiences where we've actually maybe hurt a little more than we've helped. So let's take a look at this chart. And if you would like, take a picture of it. I left the little icons here, list made with sit with it, and then it's bright vibes. I want to give credit to who created this. So dismissive positivity. I have said things like this in the past, and I probably will again without meaning to, just because I'm very human and I make lots of mistakes. But let's just feel the different feeling. So on the left side, we've got dismissive positivity. On the right side, we've got validation and hope. So I'm going to go through these in a map and just sense the difference in how you would feel if you're going through some pain that a person close to you has not experienced, and they tell you this left list. So let me read the left list first. You'll get over it. Just be positive. Good vibes only. Stop being so negative. Think happy thoughts. Never give up. Just be happy. It could be worse. Okay, now type in the chat box, how does that feel to have someone basically dismiss your pain? dismiss by saying, no, 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 there's not room here. Your pain is not welcome here. You have to put on a plastic smile and pretend everything's good. How does that feel? And I'm going to stop the screen share just for a moment so I can see what you type. If Andrea said it feels unsafe, I would agree with that, Andrea. It creates a wall. Yeah, Megan, I agree with that. Lisa, not validated for my feelings. When I hear those kinds of things, it makes me not want to share with that person my vulnerable self. It makes me think, oh, they're not a safe place. I don't feel that I can share and be really real and authentic. Alicia, it is shaming and has made me feel like I'm bad to have emotions and feelings. Yep. Maria, dismissive, closed off. Oh, yes. Those are really good descriptive words. Now, I'm going to go back. We're going to look at the other side of the chart. Now, imagine again, you're feeling pain, your loved one hasn't, but they say these things to you. This is hard. You've done hard things before, and I believe in you. I know there's a lot that could go wrong. What could go right? All vibes are welcome here. In other words, you are so valuable to me that I will hold space for you when you're suffering, not just when you're happy. Number 4, it's pretty normal to have some negative feelings in a situation like this. Oh, doesn't that just feel like they just peeled the shame right off? It's normal. I would probably feel the same way. I like saying that one. I would probably feel really hurt too. That would have hurt my feelings too. And then suddenly the other person feels like, oh, thank you. Thank you for helping me not feel ashamed that I have feelings. Number 5, it's probably pretty hard to be positive right now. I'm putting out good energy into the world for you. So validating that it's tough and then saying, I'm here to support you. Number 6, what is your ideal outcome? Sometimes giving up is okay. Let's walk through the options. Take some of the pressure off. Number 7, it's never fun to feel like this. Is there something we can do today that you would enjoy? Again, validating and then offering support. 8, it's probably really tough to see any good in this situation. Now, type in the chat box how you would feel if a loved one said some of those phrases to you if you were going through a pain they didn't understand, but they were trying to support you through with those kinds of phrases. Let's see. Relief that I mattered, loved, valued. Acceptance. Good. Good. To me, it feels unconditionally loving. It feels like you don't have to put on a fake smile for me to fully embrace and love you. I love you just the way you are. And I want to walk with you and support you through this tough experience, this challenging experience, whatever it may be. Even if I don't understand it, I'm here with you. Those kinds of comments are so healing. I love how they feel. Let's see. I'm debating whether I should share that story. Maybe I won't. So we talked a minute ago about the idea of praying for the spiritual gift to see and love ourselves and others the way God does. The way God does. So I have a couple of memes I want to show you about that. Namaste. I love this word so much, and I've heard different definitions of it. This is one that I found. My soul honors your soul. I honor the love, light, beauty, truth, and kindness within you because it is also within me. In sharing these things, there is no distance and no difference between us. We are the same. We are one. I've also heard the word namaste with this more simple definition, something like, the divine in me honors the divine in you. Ooh, doesn't that just remind us? It brings right back to center that we are on Team Jesus. We are on the same team, my friends. it's Satan who wants us to think we are on different teams. Now, does that mean we have to have the same opinions and vote for the same president and all that? No, we do not. It's great to have diversity of thought and ideas and all of that, but we are on the same main team, which is we follow Jesus, right? Here's another one. Brene Brown. I am not here to be right. I'm not here to be right. I am not here to be right. I am not here to be right. I'm here to get it right. So when we have this idea of I want to love and have empathy for other people, when we can come in with I'm just here to listen and to be taught and to learn and validate and understand your pain. Oh, it's so open-hearted. In fact, I love the visual of opening my mind like I'm opening a book. Like, teach my mind, opening my heart like I'm opening a book. Do that with me. Oh, open my heart, teach my heart to feel with you, to understand what you're going through. I just love that Brene Brown quote. One of my favorite authors is C.S. Lewis, and I didn't catch his little meme, but he has a quote, something about if we could only see each other, even the least of these, like someone whom we might really tend to judge, if we could only see these people as God sees them, as their eternal, beautiful, amazing selves, we would be tempted to worship them. And again, it reminds me, brings it back to center. What team are we on? We're on Team Jesus. We are on Team Jesus. We're on Team Jesus. We're on Team Jesus. That's such a good little reminder to say to ourselves. So my husband is a judge. And he told me this morning as we were discussing this topic, he said, I have actually sent people to prison and they have thanked me. And I said, what? Are you kidding? They have thanked you? And he said, yeah, they have. Not all of them, but I have had some thank me because they have felt listened to. They have felt validated. They have felt understood. They have felt respected and cared for. And we both talked about how sad it is that perhaps that was the very first time in their lives that they felt some of those things, that they actually felt that someone deeply cared about them, that someone cared enough to actually listen wholeheartedly to them. And my husband's really good at that. And so he's literally had people thank him when he sends them to prison or jail. And wow, if that kind of a magic moment can happen there, think of how many magic moments can happen in our lives as we listen with empathy instead of dismissing someone else's pain, instead of overlapping their pain with my story. Oh yeah, well, I had this kind of birth and my pain was worse than yours. And no, we can just let the other person be center stage for a while. We can have a turn later too. It's okay. We can take turns having center stage of conversation, but when we can give full attention to someone else's story, and especially when they're in pain, wow, that is such a healing place, such a healing place. And another part of empathy is to literally imagine what would it be like to be that person. Alicia mentioned that I have a gay son, and the last couple of years we've known for a little over 2 years now, close to 2.5. And so that's been a whole new world for us to learn. What is it like? What must it be like to be raised in a really orthodox conservative religion and have a lot of these teachings in our church have changed over the years tremendously, but a lot of those, especially harmful teachings in the past, they're still pretty baked into the culture. I didn't understand that, but I do now. And the only way I could understand it was to listen with empathy to my son and other people. I listened to a lot of podcast stories about people raised in the church who are LGBTQ. And I just want to share a simple little story of a moment of empathy. So I have a friend named Derek Knox. He lives in the Boston area. He was in the temple one day. He's a gay single man in the church. And he was in Boston one day, and a temple worker, he said he was probably about 70 years old. He was chatting with Derek, and he said, I just had a thought. I just had this thought. It was like this light bulb went on, totally new thought to him, never occurred to him before. And he said, asking you to marry a woman to be able to have temple blessings and eternal life is like asking me to marry a man. Ew. And my friend Derek was like, you're 70 and you've never taken 30 seconds to think about that until today? Really? Like, he was kind of floored that he had waited 70 years to put himself in the shoes of what's it like to be a gay person in an Orthodox religion that has these particular policies and rules and things. He had never thought about it until that moment. And you know what? It's never too late to have a moment of empathy and to speak it. And of course, it's better that he said it than he didn't, but still, it was a little unnerving to my friend Derek, like, why did it take him so long? But it's a good lesson for us. Do we take 30 seconds and go, wow, I wonder what it would be like to be a divorced person in our church and go to Relief Society and hear lessons about eternal marriage and that's the only path to eternal life, and to go, wow, I bet that's pretty othering. I bet that feels like maybe I don't fit here. I bet that feels painful. Oh, do we take 30 seconds to ask ourselves those things? To ask ourselves, what is it like to be a Black person in America today, or an Indigenous person, American Indian person, or a gay person, or a divorced person, or a person with mental illness or disabilities of some kind? Do we take a little time to mourn with those who mourn, comfort those in need of comfort, and bear one another's burdens by putting ourselves in their shoes and go, what would it feel like? Oh, wow, that's tough. I want to reach out and ask them, what can I do to support you? What is this like for you? I want to listen and understand better, and then do what we can to make the world a better place for those who have pain that we don't have, that are marginalized when we may fit in the box in different ways and many people don't. Are we reaching out and saying, there is room for you here in my church, in my circle of friendship, in my community? There is room and we want you. Because I believe this is the latter part of these latter days, and we are building Zion. And I do not believe that Zion looks like everyone who fits in a box and looks the same. No way. That is not my belief. My belief is Zion is very inclusive. Zion makes space for people who look and feel and appear and behave differently than I do. And I am so excited to build that together, because we are all on Team Jesus. We can pray to see and love ourselves and others as God does. We can ask for the gift of empathy and listen with real empathy and put ourselves in other people's shoes. And it makes us a safe place to build Zion around us. So I invite you to take that message with you. Are you praying to be a safe place who loves and sees others as God does? Are you solidly in on Team Jesus? Not team this or that, and you can still have differing opinions, but are you aligning with Team Jesus? Oh yeah, it's us versus Satan. It's not us versus each other. And are you listening with empathy? So those are my invitations to you. Now, I didn't want to spend a bunch of time on this because I had a limited time to share my message, and then I want to turn it back over to Alicia because she has a little bit for you too. But I do have, for anyone who is interested, a 10-week group mentoring program that is called Life on Purpose. I won't go into details at all. I will just say many, many, many times people say this is the most life-changing training I've ever taken. I can't even imagine my life without it, kind of thing. So if you're interested, reach out to me at Becky@purposedrivenmentoring.com, and I'll just send you a link that you can check it out. We start again in mid-September, about the 12th. We start September 12th. I don't want to go into detail, but I just wanted to mention that. So if it resonates for you, I wanted to, because how I gather people is I spiritually, I ask for angels to go out and bring the people, whatever way that looks like. So it's kind of amazing how people hear about my programs because, you know, heaven has no limits. So if it resonates, reach out and I'll get you the information. You can check it out. So back to you, Alicia.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I just love that. You know, this last part of what you said reminded me of a book that I read by Orson Scott Card. It's called The Ender's Game. And, you know, there's some of it that I don't necessarily agree with, but there's a quote in there that I love it. It's so profound because it says, in the moment when we truly understand our enemy, understand him well enough to defeat him, then in that very moment, we can also love him. And it's true, because if we look at this within ourselves, right, we defeat the enemy that's within us, the naysaying, the negativity, the derogatory, and then we expand our capacity to love ourselves. And when we expand that capacity allows us to then expand the capacity to love others and to have grace and charity and step into empathy for those around us, because we're willing to have empathy for ourselves. Number one thing that I always tell my clients on a regular basis is, you cannot love your children or your husband or those around you until you can love yourself. And it honestly begins with you. In order for you to have more grace and have more love and have more empathy, it begins within you. And the change has to start within you in order for you to, project it or give it out to others. So I love that you shared this today. I know I've reached out to you about the gay community too, because, you know, within my community or within my world, that was never a topic that was taught. And if it was taught, it was always taught in a negative aspect. And when I reached out to you to share my, desire to learn and understand, it gave me permission to be able to expand that capacity of seeing things from a different perspective, just like that gentleman who's 70 years old and finally could see that, like, that was never something that you even considered to think about. And then when you are able to see it from a different perspective, from Heavenly Father's perspective, from a perspective of no judgment, it's amazing what happens to our souls, to our spirits, because we're able to step into that. I don't even know what it's called, but it's just like you step more into charity. You step into more required attributes of being able to serve and love other people around you. So I love that you're sharing your message with all of us to help us to remember to validate and to love, and that we don't have to take sides. Like, we are all in this together. We're all here. We are all here fighting the good fight. Like, we're going back to God, right? And in order to do that, we get to team up with him. And so thank you for that reminder. Thank you for teaching and sharing that and inspiring us and helping us. And I would love for you to send me the link for your Life on Purpose so that I can include it with this video. And then that way, and we do have a couple more minutes. So I would love for you to share more, if you would like to share more about the Life on Purpose, just so that, those that do come back and watch this, they have a little bit more information about it as well.
Okay, sure. Let me share my screen. Let's see. All right. Hang on. Let me go back. Okay. Let me find. Okay. So this is the Life on Purpose program. Whoops. It is a 10-week program. We start with a full day of training, which will be September 12th. It's all online because of COVID. If we can pull it off, we just did this for the summer session over the weekend. We will have an in-person get together at the end. But the actual trainings will be online. The theme for our fall 2020 session is spiritual, emotional, and mental preparedness for thriving in the latter part of these latter days. I think many of us are sensing things are getting closer. Things are getting closer. Are we as ready as we can be inside? Now, does that mean I have every bit of food storage and prep gear I would like? No, I'm working on it. But what matters to me the most is that I know how to be the calm in a crisis situation. I know how to connect with heaven and hear heaven, and know how to exercise rare faith to call down the powers of heaven and work miracles, accomplish the impossible. And our prophet has repeatedly told us, expect and prepare to accomplish the impossible. So we focus a lot on those themes in this program. We have tools for upgrading thoughts, emotions, relationships, order, systems, personal revelation. That's a big focus for me, is personal revelation. We have an exclusive list of mood and energy boosters that are quick, like that mid-afternoon slump that many people feel. We have tools that maybe just a minute or two, sometimes only 30 seconds, that can help boost you back up into a good mood and a good energy. Tools that boost confidence. We have a power habits, a little time in the morning and a little time in the evening that consistently boost your confidence, boost your mood and energy, and let go of the baggage of negative thinking, negative emotions, negativity in relationships, negativity with the adversary. We have really good tools to help us overcome the influence of the adversary, support in achieving goals. Let's see, tools for overcoming doubts and fears, adversary influence, and other people's negative emotions. Many people have empathic tendencies, and some don't even know it. So they sponge other people's fears and anxieties and doubts. And that can be really tough to deal with if you don't have tools. With tools, it's much more manageable. The program, again, goes September 12th through November 14th. This is the link if you're interested. In fact, nope, I can't. I'm not able to grab that link. Oh, well, it just went there. There we go. Okay, let me go back to there we go. Let's see, I'll just share a couple of testimonials. This one is from Jeannie A. She just finished the program. Eve just finished the program too. We have a few people on here taking the program, which is fun. Becky's program has been one of the most life-changing things that has ever happened to me. It's as though she's given me a whole new set of armor and weapons to fight the greatest battles during the latter part of the latter days. Before this class, the battles I was fighting had immobilized me, caused me to shrink with loss of blood. With Becky's tools, I've rebuilt and upgraded that armor. I stand tall with confidence in myself and my God to help to take in whatever lay ahead. I know exactly what I need to do to keep my armor on and deal with any enemy that comes my way. We have some quite a few bonuses that are included this round: an online class of your choice. I have 3: heaven journaling, an organizing class, and a food and mood class. And then a divine mindset upgrade webinar. I won't go into that, but it's really good. It's an LDS perspective on the power of our thoughts and our words. Lots of really great LDS quotes about that. Guided meditation recording, a free heaven journaling journal. Let's see if I have one handy. Hold one of these up. That's helpful for many people with personal revelation. And you know, this particular bonus has been filled, the first 5 to register, so skip that one. But if you register by tomorrow, you get lifetime access to a couple of webinars I just gave. That's just an extra fun little bonus. So let's see. Oh, and it's worth $2,400, but through September 3rd, it's only $497. I've definitely charged more for this program in the past. And I love making it as accessible to as many people as possible because things are getting closer. I'll share just a couple more testimonials and then I'll be done. So Eve, hey, Eve is on right now. I'm completing the Life on Purpose program this week. It has resulted in the greatest transformation of my life. Oh, thank you, Eve. I'm so grateful for all the tools and lessons Becky has taught me. And then Rachel, Becky's program has been very timely. She teaches a menu of positivity skills and detox tools that have upgraded my spiritual sensitivity. That's a really big deal in the latter part of the latter days. We want to have that discernment of the Spirit to teach us which, what's truth, what's not, what's light, what's dark, where to go next, what's safe. That spiritual sensitivity is a really big deal, and it is a learnable skill. Some people just have it, but it's also a gift we can pray for and a skill we can practice. Clarity and connection to heaven. The anxiety I've been struggling with has significantly decreased. That's a common thing we hear. My ability to feel and recognize personal revelation has increased. I feel more prepared and confident to be calm and work miracles in the coming days, to lead my family and those in my sphere of influence, to follow prophets as we prepare for the Savior's return. So I think, I think that's it. Those are a few slides from a recent webinar. So, we have a couple testimonials in the chat box too. Thanks, ladies. So nice.
Oh, thank you so much, Becky. I'm so excited. And for those of you that get doing that, I'm excited to hear your testimonies on that as well. So thank you again, Becky. And I appreciate your time with us. And if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to either myself or Becky, and we'd be glad to answer that for you. Do you have anything else that you'd like to say before we end?
I think that's it. Thanks for having me, Alicia.
You're welcome, Becky, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care.
All right, bye-bye.